Hello, everyone. This workshop is brought to you by Vyana's Emerging Tech Platform Division, which aims to use new age technology like blockchain, smart contract to solve SME financing globally. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to our trainer, Sam Kamani. Sam is an entrepreneur with two successful exits in the e-commerce and esports space, the author of Amazon's bestseller, The 30-Day Startup, and the host of the Web3 with Sam Kamani podcast. In today's session, he will bring both his technical expertise and his business acumen to help partners, participants learn and apply AI concept in the real world. Now, I would like to request Sam to take over and start this AI workshop. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you, Aman, so much for the introduction. First of all, I would like to actually begin with a disclaimer, and I want to make sure that everyone can see my screen. Let me know, Aman, if you can see my screen, and then I will proceed.
Yes, Sam. We can see your screen. Just
Yes.
we
Oh,
could
fantastic. So
put
I'll
it
just
on
like to read
slideshow.
out this disclaimer before I get started, and then we'll get into it. So this disclaimer applies universally to all the content, materials, and information disseminated through the webinar organized by Vyana, spanning the text, images, graphics, videos, and any other forms of multimedia content. Within the context of our webinars, Vyana may occasionally make reference to third-party names, trademarks, logos, and brands exclusively for the purpose of conveying informational context, for which consent is not specially taken from such third party. It is imperative to recognize that such references should not be construed as indicating or suggesting any form of endorsement, sponsorship, or affiliation with Vyana unless explicitly and unequivocally stated. Our utilization of third party names, trademark, or formats is intended to align with the principles of fair use, fair dealing, or analogous provisions established under applicable intellectual property laws. Vyana fully acknowledges the proprietary rights held by third parties to their respective names, trademarks, and formats. While we commit to upholding the accuracy and correctness of any references to third party names, trademarks, or formats, we cannot provide an absolute guarantee regarding their accuracy or comprehensiveness. We strongly advise users to independently verify information when making decisions based on such references. It is vital to clarify that the mention of third-party names, trademarks, or formats in our webinar should not be perceived as or as an endorsement or recommendation by Vyana or even by me unless explicitly articulated otherwise. Vyana firmly disclaims any assertion or association or partnership with these third parties unless an association is expressly and unambiguously stated. So with that out of the way, I just have a small thing to add on top of this, and that is that I'm not paid or I'm not employed by any of these tools. I do not work for OpenAI, Legalizer, Decode Investing, or Canso, or any of these tools that I'm going to be mentioning today. With that out of the way, let's get into it. First of all, it is great to have all of you here. Thank you for devoting your time. Despite there are some big sporting events going around in the world, you are here because you are aware of the AI boom, and you have heard that there is a lot of hype about AI, but is that hype even real? So let me just share some data and some stats with you that hype is absolutely real. That more than half of employees in most corporates around the world use AI frequently to make their work faster, and about two-thirds of them do not even disclose it to their management that they are using AI. I believe and I feel like that we should be embracing AI, not hiding it, because it only makes us more productive. It makes our companies more productive and more profitable. So today, what I'm going to do is I want to just share with you quickly the basics of artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language models, the models in which all this AI is based on, and also some tools to improve your productivity and efficiency. Just want to make you more effective. For anyone who would like to connect with me, feel free to reach out. My name's on the screen. You can find me on any audio platform. I podcast quite regularly, and I'm quite active on LinkedIn with about 14,000 followers, and people often reach out to me through that. Any questions on AI, more than happy to answer. And that's what just Aman did. He just reached out to me. Anything, feel free. So yeah, let's get started with artificial intelligence. First of all, I would like to say that artificial intelligence is just to say, I'm just reading a comment. Can see your screen in full screen mode. Just a second. Let me just see. Whenever I make it full screen, it seems to disappear for me. Just want to make sure. I'm just getting some comments. I'll just share my screen again. I was just getting some comments in the chat. Yes, thank you. That is perfect. And yeah, so just getting back to AI, and that how AI is not something new, and that it, like, just like even OpenAI or ChatGPT that a lot of us use over here and we are aware of, it has been out for it has been worked on for the last 8 years. In fact, AI has been in under development since 1950. Alan Turing coined the term artificial intelligence back in 1950s. So how does AI work? The first concept to understand is that AI works from learning from data and predicts statistically what word is going to be next. So if it has read multiple reports, financial reports, then it knows what type of language is used in that and what word should come next. It does not understand. And that's why sometimes AI can hallucinate. And that's why it is quite imperative that you take everything that AI takes with a grain of salt at times, especially in descriptive language things that's written. So say if you're writing reports or you're creating a post for your LinkedIn or anything like that, because it can sometimes hallucinate. It keeps getting better every single day because it's consuming more and more data. The second thing is that it is it is quite adaptable, because if it can learn from a data in finance, it can learn from data in healthcare, and so on. And it keeps getting better at problem solving, and its accuracy and speed keeps getting better and better over time. So it is already surpassing human capabilities in some niche fields. Moreover, something that we'll look at today is that it increases efficiency, and you can use software like Zapier, and you can automate a lot of your workflow. So now this depends, and it's unique to different people. If you have multiple products that you use, then you can connect those using Zapier, and it can do more tasks. And finally, the OpenAI or ChatGPT enabled people to interact with it in a more human way. Aman, can you please go to the next slide? And just like that, I wanted to just give you a quick background about large language models. So the large language models are trained on excessive amounts of data. It used to be just text, but these days it is also images, it's also sound, and it's also video. And what it does, it creates a predictive capability. And large language model is nothing more than just an algorithm that has learned from a large amount of data. And just like how AI, large language models, can be highly versatile and can be used in various tasks, most commonly used in a chatbot format. Moreover, it keeps learning, it keeps collecting data, keeps learning, and keeps improving. It is most of the AI software that you see on the market, it is not creating their own large language models. They are all using ChatGPT or Anthropic's Claude 2 or one of these software. So they're just connecting with an API and just using that. Can you please move to the next slide? We have covered this already. Yep. Now coming back to the use of AI in the finance and investment sector. So the three key things that we will do today is, the first one is analyzing data, because as we learned that AI is excellent at handling large amounts of data, learning from it, and producing a result. So what we are going to do is we're going to look at how can we extract data, whether it is from images, whether it is from text, PDFs, CSV files, or even audio files. One of the tools that I'm going to show, even audio files, extract data from it, manipulate it, and get the answer that we want. We'll also look at just quite briefly a tool to look at legal documentation. So if you are someone who comes across shareholder agreements and things like that, especially when every time that I've gone into a startup or build a business, I always had a shareholder agreement and multiple different contracts with different parties, suppliers, and so on. And having something like this would have been awesome, because I'm not from a law background, and it'd be great to quickly go through and read a 200-page document in 10 minutes instead of spending few hours reading it. So yeah, we'll go through some of those sort of things. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. I will frequently look at the chat section and see if there are any questions being asked that need to be answered. Also, OpenAI or ChatGPT or any AI software, once you submit data, it does take maybe 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds to process that and give the answer. The bigger the data size, the longer it takes. And for the convenience and to transmit as much knowledge as I can during this workshop, what I have done is I recorded a 1-hour session on using ChatGPT, and then I pre-recorded it, and then I edited it to fit it into 20 minutes or so. So I have got that recording. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get Aman to share that recording, and I'll be in the chat. I'll be taking questions. Feel free to share if you have any use case that you feel like you would like to improve it, make it more efficient, make it faster. Feel free to share it there, and then I'll cover that after that 20 minutes. The remaining 3 or 4 tools, what we'll do is we will go through them in live. Just a second. I am just quickly. Okay, so let me just quickly play the video over here. I am going to share screen. So let's get started with our first tool, that's ChatGPT. I'm sure all of you have heard about it, and earlier we did ask you to create a login so you can log in and use. So just to save time, so let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. And now that you can see my screen, what we are going to do is, first thing is learn how to prompt ChatGPT. Of course, you can just ask it to do what you want, but there is a way to engineer prompts so it gives you exactly what you want and gives you better result than most of the people are getting, so that you don't end up with just generic stuff. Say, for example, you want to explain to your clients about value investing. You can just ask ChatGPT to write a short or write a paragraph explaining value investing, and it will do that for you. However, there are much better ways to get data out of ChatGPT, and the format for a prompt that I like to use is, first of all, you tell it how you want to act. Do you want it to act as an institutional investor, as a hedge fund manager, as a dentist, as whatever the use case might be? Ask it, act as so-and-so person. Second thing is that you give it some context. So you give it some context that is just the main part of your prompt. And the third part is define the tone. So do you want it to have an assertive answer? Do you want it to be softer in its approach? Do you want it written as an 8th grade level or a simple language or whatever the condition might be? So same thing, I'm going to ask it in a different prompt just to see what result I get. What I've done is I have pre-typed the prompt so I don't waste your time, so it doesn't take us that long. So anyway, here what I would do is I'd say act as an investment manager and write a short paragraph explaining value investing using simple language and break down the explanation in bullet points. So what I've done is I've pre-written the prompt here for you just to save some time. What it says is I'm giving it act as an investment manager, and then write the short paragraph explaining value investing. And that is the context. And then the last part is the tone, using simple language, and break down the explanation in bullet points. So let's see what it comes back. And as you can see, this answer is much better for me than this answer over here. And so this is just a small thing that you can do. The second thing that I always tell anyone is that, when you're dealing with a large language model and an NLP, then be courteous. Do use things like please and thank you and so on. Do not be rude, because it's learning from the internet. So when it learns to be rude, then it's learning that tone of voice. So in a way, you are training your AI model. So be courteous, and your replies will also be courteous. The third thing is to use delimitator. Say, for example, this was just asking a question, but what if you wanted to send some data to get this answer? So say, for example, you had some values. So say in year 1, you did 15%, year 2, you did 8% result, and year 3, you did 29% return. And you were trying to relay this information to your client that, look how well our fund is performing, how well it is beating S&P 500. How would you get it to send some data? And so what I do is I put things in this type of bracket. So then ChatGPT knows that this is the data to include in the content and not use it as an instruction. So anything between these, it will not use as an instruction. So say, for example, I want to write an email to the client explaining how my fund is beating S&P 500 for the last 3 years. And once again, I've written the prompt. So I'd say, write an email to a client describing how your fund has beaten the S&P 500 and returned the following results every year. Here are the results from the last 3 years. Once again, as you can see, I've written the results in those brackets, those type of brackets, and then it knows. And add this in a table format. Once again, I'm still following the ACT prompt engineering to a certain degree. And let's just see what it comes back. And as you can see, it has not only written an email, it has also given us a table with these results. I will later on go on how you can connect to internet and get these sort of like S&P 500 results included in your answer as well. Similarly, you can give it examples. So say you read an email and you like how that email is written. Maybe it's a cold email you found on the internet and you really like the language that it is using, how it is assertive or something. Then you can copy that email, get ChatGPT to learn from that example and improve your writing. So say, for example, you read an email, and so I have once again pre-written the prompt. So I will just show it over to you. So can you learn from this cold email? What I'll say is, once again, I've pre-written this prompt. So I'd say, please learn from this cold email example, copy its format, and help me write an email pitching my venture capital firm to limited partners in a fund. And here is the example of the email, and that's it. And I'll send it, and it will come back with something which is very similar. So this way you can send it some examples to help you improve the output you are getting from ChatGPT. The next thing is that something I was sharing earlier is, how do you enable internet so that it accesses internet and gets live data? And this is what will take your experience with ChatGPT and AI to absolutely the next level. So let's get started. The first thing I want you to do is go to your name or profile on the left-hand side at the bottom, and then click on the 3 dots, then go to settings and beta. So these are some of the beta features. So they are still not 100%, but they still do the job. So first thing I want you to, these 3 will be most likely disabled. What I want you to do is switch all of them on, browse with Bing, plugins, and advanced data analytics. After you have done, what I want to show you is how you can upload any PDF to ChatGPT and get it to give you like a summary of it, give you the insights into that PDF. So say you have come across a contract, it is a shareholder agreement and it is quite long, it's maybe 30 pages long. You just want to get the gist out of it without going through and reading and spending that time. So what you'd want to do is go to ChatGPT 4, click there, go and select Advanced Data Analytics. Now I already have a PDF document here that I downloaded from the internet, and it's quite long. I don't want to read the full document. I just want like a quick gist of it and key points of it, what it's talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this document and see what ChatGPT comes back with. First thing you do is go and click the small plus sign next to the send message, and it will open up a dialog box or a window where you can go and upload your file. So I will just go and do that right now and send. Now, based on the size of the file, it can take some time. Explain this document in bullet point. It will go and extract this PDF document and give. I would just like to pause the video for just a few seconds, and I would like to encourage all of you to feel free to raise your hand and ask any questions. Let me know if you can hear me or if you cannot hear me. Otherwise, I will continue with the video. It is just maybe 5 to 10 minutes more. Give you its contents. And just like that, it has given us the key contents and the main context for us to know what is going on. But what about if you have some detailed financial data, as I have over here? I have just downloaded some sample data from the internet. It is a lot of data. You want to make sense of it. What you would do is you can do the same process with ChatGPT, and that is upload that file, the sample financial data. It can be CSV file, Excel file, or a file downloaded from Google Sheet, and then say, give me insights into this document, and just say provide a summary of the data. And then what I'm going to say is give me trend analysis, and let's see what it comes back with. So now there are multiple trends in this document. Please provide monthly trends or yearly trends or account trends. It is giving us some seasonal patterns between June and August. There's higher average values, and April and November shows lower values. So it has identified those seasonal trends. But then you can continue going and say, give me annual trends, and you can further ask it to visualize the data based on your query, and it will keep doing that for you. Now, let's start a new chat, because I want to start with fresh. What happens with ChatGPT is that it often is remembering your previous search and it's giving you results based on your previous search. So that's why I'm starting a new search, because I don't want my results influenced by it. I will go to default, and there is a parameter that you can use to engineer your prompt, and that parameter is called temperature. What it does is it controls the randomness or creativity in your result. So say if you want more mainstream, more conventional answers, then you should select a temperature closer to 0. If you want more randomness, more creative answers, select a temperature closer to 1, because the values range between 0 and 1. So say you have an investment fund, or you're coming up with a new product, maybe a Bitcoin ETFs or a new product for your clients, and you need a name for your new product or a name for a new fund that you are launching. So let's say this is a prompt that I have pre-written. You can use this prompt. So say, help me come up with a name for my investment fund. Give me 3 examples and temperature of 0.2. So what it will do is it is going to give you more conventional sounding names. Run the same prompt with a temperature of 0.9, and it will give you more unconventional names or more creative names. As you can see, Nebula Nest Wealth Odyssey, which is not conventional at all, whereas Blue Harbor Wealth Management sounds very conventional. So this is how you can control how wild you want your answers to be. The another similar thing that you can use is a frequency penalty. So just like how you have temperature, you can include something called frequency penalty, which the values range between -2 and 2, and the default is 0, and it controls the repetition in your language. So say if you have written a paragraph or an email and you feel like you're repeating yourself a bit too much, or you're using the same type of word too many times, what you can do is you can send that data to ChatGPT, which either as a PDF or as a copy paste of the text, and say that, hey, improve this and use a frequency penalty of -1 or something like that, and then it will reduce the number of repetitions. There are a lot more parameters, but they are not relevant to your industry, so I'm not going to go in that, because those parameters control things like sarcasm, humor, genre, and so on and so forth. Now for the next use case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a financial data file which I showed you earlier. So I'm going to input this. Maybe this is records of your own company or performance of your own fund. Your system gave you data in a spreadsheet. So what I want us to do is, first of all, start a new chat, go to ChatGPT 4, enable advanced data analysis, and then upload this spreadsheet that I showed you. Now, what I want to do is I want to say to ChatGPT, create a report based on this data. And this is a very common use case. You have data about your own company, about your own products, about your own services and how they have performed, and you want to communicate this to your clients. You just have the raw data. You don't have any words for it. So now ChatGPT can write this as a report. So not only it can make a report, and it can give you other things, such as, so you can get it to do some data analysis, you can get it to do some visualizations or clean the data. The next thing I wanted to show, I would like to just pause for a second and add one thing that I didn't add there. What I mean by clean data. So sometimes when you upload or you have a spreadsheet, you have got the data in the wrong format. So say you have got like a word in where it should be just numbers or currency or something like that, and AI will automatically pick those things up and fix those rows or cells or columns and find the nearest value. So you can ask it to just even share your PDF, and then you can ask it to fix that data. And then there are plugins on Google Chrome that on Chrome that you can add those plugins, and then you can even download those PDFs after those PDFs or the CSV file or the spreadsheet is fixed. But we'll continue with that. In the meantime, I'd like you to think of a use case or any data that you use on a day-to-day basis on how you can improve it, how you can write reports on it without much effort using ChatGPT. For you is that there are new products and new types of digital wealth currencies, products, and so on and so forth. What if you wanted to understand these, or take it to the next step is explain to your clients, to your customers, and show your thought leadership in this space? What you can do is use some plugins, do that really effectively. And how you enable plugins, how you download plugins is this way. And that is, you go to ChatGPT, you go to plugins where it says beta, click on that plugins, and then you'll get a drop down box here. Over here, you will see all the different plugins. Generally, when you first log in, you will see no plugins here. So you'll have to go to plugin store, and over in the plugin store, you can find any plugin. One of that plugin I like and that's relevant to you is Whimsical Diagrams. So I have, as you can see, I have already installed that. So what we are going to do is make sure that it is selected. And then next thing I'm going to do is ask it to create a mind map of how Bitcoin works. And this gives you a detailed diagram of how Bitcoin works. Similarly, now the next thing you might want to do is, okay, well and good, you got this result, but you wanted actually to make a LinkedIn post describing this. So then all you do is just write that, please write a LinkedIn post describing this diagram, and then it will describe it in words with relevant hashtags and so on. So you can copy this. You can just go here and click copy. That's it, copied. Copy and post it on LinkedIn and paste this diagram, and there you go. But what if this was a mind map? But what if you wanted a flowchart? And it's very simple. The same plugin, Whimsical plugin, can do the same thing. So you just say create a flowchart of how Ethereum staking works, and it will give you a detailed diagram of how you can stake Ethereum, how the whole process works. And then once again, you can transform this into content for an email or social media campaign or your newsletter, or just even an art blog for your website. So this is a very easy way to create unique content that does not look created by ChatGPT, because other people are not using it. They are not power users. And this is how you become a power user. Now, the next thing I want to show you is a cap table analysis. So let's say someone sent you a cap table, and instead of a cap table being in a spreadsheet, they have just sent you a PDF, or even worse, just a screenshot. So yeah, so this is the cap table. Now this is an image. As you can see, it's a WEBP file. And this is from Crunchbase. You just downloaded this cap table from Crunchbase, but it's not very user friendly because it's an image. You can't do graphs and things. There is a way, and ChatGPT has inbuilt optical character recognition, so you can even upload. So what you do is go to ChatGPT, then go to advanced data analytics, go and attach that file that I just showed you, the image file of cap table, and then you go and say that perform a general analysis on this cap table, and it's giving us some general analysis based on it. But you know what's even more helpful is that if I had a pie chart, create a pie chart based on this. Now that I have data represented in a much more visual sense, I know which other venture funds have invested in this startup, who owns the largest percent. Another use case that I would like to show you is that if you have, say, stock market data like the close price of Apple stock and S&P 500, and if you want to do some regression analysis or find the beta, this is how you do. So let me first show you the data that I am using. So say this is really easily available data that you can find on the internet. It's just the close price. I'll just increase the font size a bit. It's just the close price of Apple, then the closing S&P 500, just the daily price range. Go and start a new chat. Go to advanced data analysis and the spreadsheet that I just showed you. And what I'm going to do is upload this data to ChatGPT and ask it to perform regressional and with. So as you can see here, it shows us the plot of Apple close versus S&P 500, and then based on this, I'm going to do just a little bit more analysis. What I'm going to do is ask it to predict the closing price of Apple in 12 weeks based on this data. Once again, just a small disclaimer that AI models can make mistakes. This is not investment advice. Don't go and invest money based on just one model. There are lots and lots of different models you can try. Later on, I'm going to show you a few more things. So just as you can see, now it has given us a prediction on what the S&P 500 would look like in 12 weeks and what Apple's closing price would look like in the next 12 weeks. The next thing I want to do is find the beta. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to help me find the beta in the Apple stock based on the data that I have provided it. So it has given us a beta of 1.34. So we'll continue with this. And I will need, Aman, your help to share the slides again. I can just try on my side one more time and see if it works. Can you see my code?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was just the first, like a very brief introduction of ChatGPT. There's, of course, you can use it for n number of purposes and use cases. If you think of a use case and you don't know how to use it for that use case, just write it in the chat. Questions are always welcome. Let's move on to the next AI tool that I wanted to show you, and something that I was talking about earlier, and that is contract analysis. You have just gotten a contract. You work more on the investment and finance side, not on the law side of things, and you have to deal with contracts, whether it's an employment contract to contract of sale and purchase to n number of different contracts. So what the tool that I've found that works best for this is called Legalizer. Hopefully you've made an account. So I've just made a free account. I'm not endorsed by any of these tools. I've just tried different tools online. I've tried multiple tools, and I've found that this was the best value for money, because it has a generous free tier to use. The next thing you would do is you just click on upload a contract and upload it, and then it takes about few minutes, maybe even up to 5 minutes. I did not want to keep you waiting, so I have already preloaded that contract. So this is a contract that is about 200 to 300 pages long. It's a contract readily available on internet. It's by because it's by publicly listed companies, Saudi Aramco, a very, very big, dense contract. I uploaded it a few days ago, and you can go and see, and immediately you get to see the standardness of the contract. It often even adds comments and things like that over here in the contract, and it also gives you like a fairness. So in a graphical representation, you get to see what is good, what's not good. They also give you some comments, but the superpower of this is the chat section, because here you can ask questions like this, like what are the main things that I should be careful about in this contract. And this is like a 200-300 page contract, as you can see. So so if you've got something complex and you just want the gist of it, you just want to know if there are some key clauses, or if there's any fraud or anything like that you need to be really careful about, you can just ask over here, and you can ask repeated questions. You can say, give me the gist of it in bullet points, or keep asking questions till you are satisfied, till your query is satisfied. So I did find this tool to be quite helpful. Apart from that, you can detect anomalies that, or if the contract is not fair towards you. So I think those features are really useful. You can also use it to create new contracts or create from templates and stuff. But I would definitely, for anything legal, I would still consult a lawyer if it's something really important. Just a disclaimer. The third tool that I wanted to show you, in the interest of time, we'll keep moving along, because this tool is so much fun. And as a retail investor, this is a tool that I use it on an ongoing basis pretty much. So with this, once again, hopefully you have created a login. If not, you can create. I have a completely free account that I'm using right now. And over here, you can go and select a stock. So let's just say we're looking at Apple, and see how this data looks so different to the data that we were using in ChatGPT. So let's just say Apple and do a search on Apple stock. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Yep, there you go. So this is a fantastic tool, and it gives you a score, like a value score based on the value investing principles, their management score, that what sort of a moat they have. I mean, they have a extremely strong brand, so I'm not surprised they've given them such a big moat, a debt score. So it gives some really interesting stats for you, as well as a lot of data that, once again, if you wanted to further utilize this data. Yeah, I've just got a question. I will definitely answer that question very, very shortly. But coming back to this tool, so you've got this data. You can always copy paste this data into ChatGPT if you want to further manipulate, you want to see graphs, you want to see any other reports, and so on and so forth. The next feature of this I wanted to show is the earnings call. So most companies have an earnings call. Once again, we'll just go back to the same example, and you can see over here, this is the Apple's earning call. You don't want to read the whole thing. So I have already asked a question because I didn't want you waiting for. So this is a question that asks that give me the highlights from this earning call, and it will give you all the highlights. So you don't have to spend 3 hours. So you, from 2 to 3 hours, it's made it like 10 minutes. You can cover so much more ground by using tools like this. Now, with the earnings call, any US listed stock, you can find over here, whether it's in S&P 500 and so on. I have got a question. I would like to answer that question before I move further ahead with this Decode investing tool. And the question is that, is there an plugin to enable internet? And yes, there is. So if you go over here to plugins section, you would go to plugin store and you would just go and search. But I have already downloaded those plugins. So so there are two plugins for that. One is called Web Pilot and the other one is called Web Request. So you can search the internet. But I'm not sure if I did show you a plugin, but Wolfram Alpha is quite a neat plugin as well. And you can search a lot of statistical information. Say you want data on any company or any country or GDP or anything like that, you can go to Wolfram Alpha. Wolfram Alpha is more powerful than Google in some instances. So yeah, Wolfram is the other plugin that you'd use, but it is very slow. I had to wait sometimes 5 to 10 minutes. How would you compare Bard with ChatGPT? My results have been extremely different in Bard compared to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is still way more superior than Bard. I haven't got the recording, but I had compared the results in Bard as well as ChatGPT using internet, and ChatGPT was definitely better results for me. That was another question in the webinar chat. Feel free, keep them coming. Now going back to Decode investing, and there is a tool called AI stock analysis. So you can analyze a stock. You don't even need the ticker number, as long as you know the company name you want to analyze. And it will give you the analysis. And once again, the best thing is that you have a chat functionality over here as well, so you can talk with it. And I have already asked some questions, just so you don't have to wait for the answer to be processed. So you can ask, okay, what's the projected revenue in the next 4 quarters? So it gives us the growth rate over different years, the Q1 2024. This is the what they think the projected revenue would be, because it according to them is growing at about 20% year over year. So that's just another example of how you can use this tool. What I would recommend is that you go and look at some more functionality, just explore. It's really user friendly. And there was Circle of Competence. So yeah, you can even search by industries and say you want to look for deals in a certain industry. You want to see which publicly listed companies are undervalued at this time, and you can go and just ask and just go and find those companies and stuff. But once again, not investment advice. This is what it's doing. Do your own research. Every tool uses a different number of criteria. when we calculated the beta or predicted the price, we were just looking at S&P 500 and Apple and its correlation there. There are thousands of different parameters and variables that come into effect that affect a stock price. So that's something I'd like to add. The last tool that I want to quickly show you, because it can be quite useful, is because all of us, we spend a large amount of time on Zoom meetings, and we create so much audio content, video content, or we consume or we are sent audio or video content, and we want to go through, say if we want to go through really fast, or we want to say create a report from it. It's a company call that we had, like a board meeting call, and we want to create a report from it. Then I would recommend that you use something Kensho. It has a free tier that allows you to do that. You just log in, and once you log in, you would go to its toolkit. So just like OpenAI has plugins, Kensho has a different sort of sub product that allow you to do more or less similar type of things, but with some minor differences which are more suited for your industry. So say, for example, Scribe, I will just launch Scribe, and what Scribe does, it allows you to create a transcript. So you just go and upload. Just a second, I will just go and upload here some, all the videos are quite large in size, but yeah, you can, I can upload the presentation that I just gave, and I can just transcribe it. And once I have this data transcribed, then it can be converted into reports easily. It could be converted into social media posts or whatever you need that for, depending on the content, obviously. But it will take some time to transcribe, so I will not continue. But you get the idea. Sort of pre-recorded a lot of the things, because AI is extremely processing heavy, and processing can take time depending on the size of the file that you want to manipulate. The other things it can do is you can upload PDF, and it can add annotations that, hey, look at this, draw circles and points and stuff, and it can connect your data to and map companies to external databases. However, as long as you've got access to data, you can upload it to ChatGPT to manipulate it, just like how I showed you earlier in ChatGPT, and that is by having these advanced data analytics option enabled. Someone had asked in chat about Bard, and you can browse the internet here with Bing as default. The other plugins I showed are bypassing Bing. They're not going through Bing. They are going through their own servers and just crawling the internet. So that's that pretty much concludes the whole presentation. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other tools. I've mentioned some of them here. Feel free to take a screenshot. We will also strive to send you this presentation later on, the recording of this presentation later on, so you can go through and check out some of these tools. Feel free to ask any questions you have in the webinar chat. Otherwise, we are nearly up with our time. Feel free to reach out to me on any platform. I'm most active on LinkedIn, obviously. So yeah, so I'll just stop my share now.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for taking out the time and conducting this workshop. Also, I would like to thank all the attendees who registered and showed up for this workshop. With that, we are done with this session and hope to see you soon with more topics at the intersection of technology and finance. Thank you. See you soon.